Hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm just going to do a painting this occasion to use some paints that I bought in France this year. Okay, so let me tell you about them. I was I couldn't bring my paints, or I was told I couldn't bring my paints onto the flight to France from Ireland, and I didn't have a bag checked in, so I had to bring basically I had to leave my paints at home. So what I bought in France were these paints here. So hold them up there. Let's have to see if I put them up there. Le Franc et Bourgeois. Okay, so I bought a specific set of colours so that I could achieve the gamut of permutations of colour. And it's based on the palette that I use for illustration work when I used to do illustrations for the newspapers, etc. So I believe that they're good quality acrylic paints. This paint is going to be in acrylics, but I've never actually had occasion to use them. So this is going to be fun. So there we go. What colours did I get? I've got Rouge Vif, live red. Okay, so it looks like a cadmium red to me. It's warm red. I've got Bleu Outremer. That's Outremer. Okay, so that's ultramarine blue. I've got Vert Clair, clear green. Okay, so it's a kind of a bit like a green light that Liquitex do. Let me see. I've got jaune moyen, so that looks like a warm cadmium yellow medium to me, and titanium white, blanc de titane. Okay, so there are my paints. Let's have a look what they look like on the palette. Put those off to one side. So on the palette, where are we? Palette. Here we go. So there we go. There's the colours there. This one's drooped a little bit. That's the other thing, is that where are we? They seem to be quite how would you say, less viscous than the usual Winsor & Newton professional quality acrylics that I usually use. I believe that they are professional quality, but they're kind of looser. So let's see how that works. It might be kind of better in an en plein air or landscape painting environment. Let's see. But also, just for the interest value, over here you can see that gel there. That's an extender. So I'm going to use it in the paint just to extend the drying time a little bit. So make it slightly more like oils. It's never really quite like oils, but so the painting that I'm going to do, let's have a look, is go here. This is Mount Errigal in County Donegal in Ireland. Okay, well, I love the way the shadows extend out into the road, across the road, giving a kind of a warm and cool environment, I suppose. And you can see Mount Errigal in the background. Okay, so that's what I'm going to paint. Let me see if I can get down to, I'll show you the canvas. All right, so you've got the reference there. You've got the palette. You've got the canvas. So why don't I begin? So I'm going to do the usual thing of a wash. Okay. So obviously I'm using water with this, so it's not solvent. So I think my wash, I want it to be a kind of a reasonably warm kind of pink. So I'm going to grab some red and white. It's not the same as I use a lot of a cool red called Permanent Rose. But I don't think I'll use extender. This is going to dry, so let's put that on first. Okay, so it's kind of a pink. Yeah, I mean, I love acrylics. They're their own thing. They're kind of like oils, like in as much as you work from dark to light, in the same way as you do with oils. But they can be very, very much more versatile, I suppose, in a way. But you seldom get quite the same result as you would with oils. And also they kind of dry. There's a colour shift when the paint dries. From, I think they go slightly darker from memory. Not much though, and I never think it's that much of an issue. People always talk about this wet to dry shift in acrylics, but it doesn't bother me too much. So let's. It's slower to put on. I always find that in acrylics that the first few coats drag a bit, and then you get into more into the painting. The paint starts to not exactly flow like oils, but it gets easier to apply. You can hear it. You can hear the brush working against the canvas, can't you? Yeah. I'm a bit of an obsessive completist with my washes. Some people would be far more loose with it, but I don't know. It's just a personal thing. I would kind of like to complete the wash. Just a little bit more to do. I just want that pink to show through in certain places. It's definitely a looser kind of acrylic paint than I'm used to. But in extremis, when you're out in a place you're unfamiliar with, you walk into the art shop and you don't recognise any of the brands. I suppose just maybe take some time to check if the paint is of sufficient quality. The stuff you get in supermarkets is dreadful. I'll do a video on that eventually, where I'll do a painting in the very cheap paints and the professional level, the artist quality paints, and see how they compare. I think it'd be an interesting comparison to make, because people buy these paints and then they stop painting because they can't achieve anything. Okay. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. It's not because I'm sort of using French paints. So now I'm going to do a bit of a drawing. Okay, so I'm going to make a dark. So maybe some blue, some green, and some red. See if I can sort of make an analogue of something like burnt sienna. More red, a bit more yellow. Yeah, something like that would do, wouldn't it? A bit more red. Okay. So let's see if I come along here like that. There's a horizon across there. Tree there. Make sure I get Errigal in at the beginning, just so I know where it is. Yeah, like that. Tree there. This part is the vegetation. My aim is to paint this in kind of more vibrant colours. So let's see. So along there, I'm going to try and make a purple for the shadows. That's what's in my head. Sometimes these things, well, very often they don't work out exactly the way you think they're going to anyway. So on there you've got that bit of land stretching across the lake there, and then got that, and then we've got this, excuse me, this tree. Okay, so something like that there. We've got this shadow area here. I mean, that's quite an interesting. It's more of it's closer to burnt umber that I've created here. But I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we've got these shadows coming across here like that, there like that. They're kind of very dramatic. There, shadow here. Obviously that shadow of photographer is not there. It's dark there, dark coming across there. And then the road goes into shadow there. There, and then the shadow goes onto the road along the side here like that. I mean, these would be changing. I'm using a photographic reference, obviously, but these things would change. Let me just shift my microphone. There. I hope you can hear me a bit better now. That shadow extends across there like that. With this bit of a tree coming up here, which frames the painting really. There. And that the painting is framed there as well. I think that's a nice thing to have. So we're looking through this shadowed area towards the light. Okay, let's mark in how the mountain goes. There. There. So I haven't used any extender just yet. Okay. So move that there like that. We've got green there. The road somewhat like that. And we've got some other crisscrossy sort of type shadows there, like that. I think they're kind of worth having. I might put less of them in than there actually are. There, like that. That's road going across there. Okay. And make more of that tree going up there like that and across, framing Mount Errigal. Okay. Okay. Twisty trees. It's kind of a Donegal can be beautiful in the summer and then quite harsh in the winter. So there's a nice tree trunk coming down there like that. We'll make sure I get all the salient parts in. So that there, that's very scrubby vegetation there. You know, if you were actually standing by that roadside painting along Errigal, you know, you've got to be aware that it's quite likely there'd be kind of high wind or wind anyway, and okay, I can probably work into that. So the other parts they can be sort of, they can come in subsequently. Okay, right. Let's. I'm going to mark in that lake first of all. So let's get some blue and white. Remember, this is the first time I've actually used this paint. I did buy it in France, and then I ended up I couldn't paint. That was just the way holidays work, you know, when you're away on a family holiday. I'm going to put some extender in this now. Just give it a bit more time to, so I can get other paint into it there. That can go across there like that. Okay, and now let's get a bit of sky in. My intention is to leave some of that pink coming through. So my hand will be in the way of the painting sometimes. It's just the way the cameras are set up. But so let's put in some of these. See, I want some dramatic parts in the, you know, drama in the sky. So, and I think the pink will help with that. because we've got this sort of shadow come down here, and it'd be nice if the sky was sort of mirroring that. Okay, we've got a bit of sky in. Now let's get a bit of vegetation in. So let's get some green and yellow. See what the yellow into that green kind of does make it slightly toxic looking. You know, acidic maybe. So let's put a bit of red into it. More green. We get that a kind of a more natural green there. So with the extender in it, it does make it a little bit more transparent. Be good to start off with, and we've got some green there coming up, and green there coming around there, green there. Now, far in the distance we've got Errigal, so I'm going to add some paler, even a bit of sky colour into that green. Yeah, it needs a bit more red. Only working with unfamiliar paint. I will give my opinion on the paint at the end, I think. Ah, that's nice and distant and pale. Coming down to the water's edge. Coming across there like that. Up the side of the mountain. Got some nice cool shadows. And I think it's all granite up there in Donegal. Lots and lots of areas of granite. I'm not sure about that, but lots of the rest of Ireland are limestone. So let's, like Clare, for instance. Let's put a bit of shadow on the side of the mountain, bluish colour. Okay. And then down there across that. Let's go to the road. I want a warm road, as if we've got sunlight slanting in over an evening sky. So red, yellow, and white. More yellow there. We can always come forward in tone now to heighten the tone later on. But I want a contrast between the cool shadows and the warm sunlit road. So there. And I'll leave some of the pink coming through there as well. I think the pink will serve as a kind of a unifier to the painting, perhaps. Who knows at this stage? Okay, there's that in there. Okay. Now, I had intended from the very outset to make the shadows very purple. Actually, do you know what? I'll put in a bit of the same. Much of the tree is actually the same as the road. So let's do that there. Bit of light on the road there. The smaller branches can be done later. So now, the purple. Can I make a decent purple? Let's have a look. So red and blue and white. Does it make I need more blue than red, that's for sure. It makes a bit of a dull purple, to be honest. It's because of the warm component in the red. Really, to make a decent purple, I'd have to have a purple there, like what would it be? I can't remember the name of it now. Not quinacridone, it's it'll come to me. More blue. I need a bit more of it anyway. More of that paint. Okay, so let's have a look, see what that does. So that can go. Oh, that's a decent enough purple. It's not bright like I had envisaged it, but good enough. And the shadows are all going to be sort of in that type of shade there, even around this tree here. Come around there. All the darks, at the moment, anyway, unless I decide otherwise, I'm going to put them in that kind of purple. The idea really being, if you're going to use a photographic reference, that you should change it. You shouldn't be slavishly following the reference, you know, making a facsimile. It's no fun. I'm going to try and see what you can get out of something, I think. There, across there, and this is all dark here, dark and cool. Okay. It's tentative at this stage anyway. I don't know about other artists, but I almost never go into a painting expecting it'll turn out the way I thought it would exactly. And I suppose that should be part of the fun, the exploratory nature of painting, or the how do you call it, the experimentation. So that's definitely, there's a big trunk, sinewy kind of trunk. There, and we've got and some of that shadow can come up onto the bank there. Okay, now I want to do something with the road again, so I want to start sort of describing some of the more detail-y kind of parts. If you know what I mean. The subtleties. Okay, so okay, that's okay. Now I want to lighten that lake a little bit, so and I'm going to add a touch of yellow into that blue-white mix to see what happens, because you can never get that lovely green cerulean type blue, because I've only got ultramarine, I've only got a cadmium yellow. So it's to be expected that you can't exactly match certain colours. If there's a greeny blue, you're just going to have to know that it's going to be a more of a reddish blue, a blue that's tending towards red. There we go. So I've lightened that lake a little bit. Colours are often very fruity with acrylics anyway. So let me go towards the sky again. So this time I want to use some of that warm light mix. Let me actually sort of come over here for a second for the clouds. I want colourful clouds, not just white. So as we're coming down towards the horizon, the sky is lightening. There's no lightning. Coming up around here like that. And remember, I want to sort of mirror those clouds a little bit. And I don't want to get rid of my pink. Altogether. Okay. Right, some more of the foliage. So a lot of it is not green. It's kind of a russet colour. So I'll actually get some red, mix it with that green, make a kind of a dark goldy kind of red. Put a bit more yellow into that. It is interesting now. This paint is much looser than I'm used to. A little bit on the thin side, you know, sort of a transparent side. When I went into the shop, it was what do you call it in France? It's a not papeterie or but this is all they had. All they had was a Le Franc-Bourgeois. It was a very small town in the north of France. So they didn't really have very much of a selection. So it was a case of, you know, getting what I could get. This stuff is better, but much better than stuff you get in the supermarkets. But, well, let's see. Going over some of that. There's red in there. Okay. I want to lighten up that road a bit now, so get a bit more contrast of tone and heat. Building up towards clarity. Make more of that little area there. Come in there. Okay. Back to the foliage. Fill that in there. That can come there, make that. I love the way this tree, it looks very windblown. And it windswept and interesting. Okay, so we've got that there. I need more green. That's coming out into the road. It's not a highway. It's a little boreen. Okay, and a grayer. Bit of foliage there, and just building up some of these areas here. And it needs some quite sort of vivid red as well. Around here and here. And here too. Okay. Let's get some more foliage green. Now, once again, it's only an impression that you want. It's a painting. We're not recreating photographs here. Okay, so I think, yes, it can go red. Kind of golden colour here. Right, back to the shadows. I want to start working with those shadows a bit more again. So blue and red. I think I might just do a pure blue and red mix. There's no white in it. So I can sort of bolster up some of these really deep shadows. There. And around here and in that tree. The light is obviously coming from over our right shoulder. Behind us. There. And around here. Deepen that. Okay, there. And this shadow coming over that bank. And down here. I see some interesting possibilities. As you paint, you're kind of getting the feel for the painting and also for the material, you know, as to what it can be made to do. There. So there's going to be all sorts of little strokes around there. We can put in some. See, all this can be sort of dark and shadowy in the foreground to lead the viewer into the light and the open bit of land ahead. It kind of the idea, I suppose, is that you want to lead people through the shade and into the sunlight. So people are kind of walking through your painting, I suppose, in a way. So there's shade coming down here like that, just building that up. Coming around there like that. Some darks in there as well, because we are. Okay, we need to do a bit more with the sky. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that sky. Still got some left. Put in some variations in the sky. I like multicolored skies. Shape that mountain. There are little fluffy clouds, as the song used to go. Just sculpting that mountain a little bit. Sculpt that distant bit of vegetation there. Okay. Get some more blue, more white. And a touch more. Do you know what? A touch of red. Let's make it slightly pinkish, if I can. Slightly, what would you say? I find it hard to talk and paint at the same time. I might leave that sort of there. It's just sort of being swept up with the wind. Okay, so let's see if any of that works down here as well, because it would still be some... I like to unite a painting by putting some of what's in different parts of the painting in other parts, just bits. Okay. Okay, I think I need some more dark in the windswept tree. There, and we can put a nice sort of sinewy trunk dividing there. We need to work on the mountain a little bit more before. The mountain is russet in places. But we really only need to suggest the mountains. It's not... They're not... you just have to know that they're there, sort of looming up ahead of you. This big, this vast eminence, I should say. Come across there like that. There. And then we can see some bits of wooded areas. Let's see if I can make something that would be like that, not too heavy. Coming across. A bit heavier than that though. Areas of trees. You can come across there like that. Right, and then that area there can be filled in slightly. Okay, I'm going to lighten that road again. Okay, so I'm going to go in for the third time, the third pass at it, hopefully getting lighter but still warm every time. Okay, I might need to change my brush very soon. I've used the same brush for the whole thing so far, apart from the wash. Okay, not convinced that it needs to be that light. Try again. Is that even lighter now? Okay. Okay, there, filling in some of those areas. We've got the light hitting that road. A burning hot day in Donegal. And then we can see some little areas. Now, I definitely need to change my brush now. So let's go. I've got a much smaller round now. It's number 5 round. And we can start putting in little indications that there are spots of light coming through. The light is definitely coming through across there. This is a very random thing. It's like patterns. You're making nice little patterns. You're not copying the ones that are actually there, because you'd be a month of Sundays doing it, and it's not necessary. And by the time you went there again, it would have completely changed. You know, the clouds and the light moves fast in Ireland. Right, now let me just work on those shadows again, so the red and the blue. Gather up some of that red that's, or that blue that's drooped down on the palette. Okay, let's define some of this area here. So we go in with smaller brush strokes now. That can come down there. Little areas of dark. Add in the bits that, you know, where you think that they will do most good. At the moment I'm using, there's a mix of blue and red, but I'm intending to go for a pure blue in certain places as well. So there, like that. So that's all just vegetation there. I can add in a little bit of description, I suppose, into which I can put the other colours emerging out of that darkness. Problem about using acrylics in France is always that they dry on the brush so quickly with the heat of a summer. I can't imagine that's why the paints are so loose, but I wouldn't imagine so. They do have a winter as well, so the formulation of the paint is not what I'm used to. Put some description in there, up there, that's all. Now, we need to do something in the windswept tree as well, so some areas of dark, and also I've got plenty of paint, why not use it? Here we've got some branches hanging down, and here too. Just little sort of lines, they're not overly described. We've got a nice branch coming down here, that would be good to have as well. And then there, some more. Okay, there we go. Now, that doesn't need to be any less substantial than it is now, I think. Okay, back, and we can do a little bit of description of the foliage again. So green, let me try some green and blue, put some blue into it, I'll give it a bit more heft. Oh, we get a nice darker green then with the ultramarine blue into it. Okay, so that means we can sort of start putting in different greens along there, break up some of the shadows. And then in there, because there's all sorts of greens and reds around here, just breaking them up. We've got some vegetation coming into the road, some grass, I suppose. And around here, just some little dabs. We don't want to be overly descriptive because we're not creating a photograph. Now, some more reds in that all that foliage. Really quite red. A little bit of green into it. Right, and all around there, there's tumbling down to the roadside and into the road. It's the road less travelled, isn't it? So, in around here, there's some nice reds there. Okay. Long grasses, especially here. Now that's going to be very vivid, I think. It's going to use a bit of red there. Okay. I'm going to go back into the sky. I'm going to do something with those clouds, make them more pinky. Remember, just mimicking the direction of the shadows in the road. Up there. And down towards the horizon. There. Shape the mountain. Back around there like that. It's more of a point. A bit more blue so it's not all the one colour. Complete the sky up to the edge, leaving in those areas there. I just want to do a bit more with the lake. So white plus blue plus a little bit of yellow. Let's see what I get. A bit more yellow. Yeah, it's very difficult to get a nice clean greenish blue. Not bad though, once it goes on. Bring the water right up to the edge there of the land. Grab some more shadow. I want to complete that there. Have some more branches and activity around the tree. Frame the painting. Frame the area that I want people to walk into. Have it coming across that tree actually as well. It unites the composition. Okay. Now what about some blue and white? Just pure blue, or pure blue. Let's try pure blue first of all. See what that does in the shadows. Oh, that's very, very, very rich. Not everywhere, but some randomly kind of strokes there. And even in the trees here. And of course around here. And now I'm going to go back to put a bit of red into it. So I mean, it's obviously an optical illusion. You're just trying to direct people's eyes, sort of tell a story. In fact, it's the whole thing is about telling a story. You know, what is down at the end of that road, and how did you feel when you were there, and you know, you're going to exploring in a new county. What did you feel that day? Whatever you do, don't just copy the photograph. Okay, we're going to brighten the road a little bit in places. There's more light getting through in certain areas than others. There we go. I don't want to eliminate all the pink, but I do want to make sure. I think I've lost part of that light coming across the road over there. And then there are some lighter, less distinct areas of light coming around there like that in the road. Now, back to the sky. I'm going to put in some similar types of things to the road, really, just where light is peeping through the leaves. Even over here, maybe make it slightly bluer. Maybe have that less. Sure that I get rid of that pink there. Okay, I need to do something with that because there are some the birch trees obviously there. I'm going to put them in as well. So just some sort of little random lines. There's more of them over there. And I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow and green with a bit of red, and it makes it a kind of a bit. It needs a bit more red, and it's pale because it's in the distance. I'm just going to describe those here. those areas there. Maybe a bit more green. I want them to stand off that mountain a little bit. A bit more red. Okay. I'm breaking things up, just to make it more naturalistic, I suppose. There. And I need a bit more variation here, I think. Lead you down the path. I want to try and see what blue and a bit of white does in the shadows. See if I can lift painting, sort of take it into more of a fantastical element. Really is an exaggeration. If you went to Donegal and you actually viewed things exactly the way I'm painting them, it might mean that you've been on something. There. Tone and temperature. Never neglect temperature. Now, I need some more reds. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. If I can put some more red stuff there, maybe even in that tree. Now, putting in some long grasses. Ooh, I need to fix that, put that in. Variations, and I want some lights now, some light. Right, light dried grass, I suppose. Not exactly sure what that material is, but it'll help to sort of to describe the nature here. And we go, and on this side too. While you're going for your walk, put some description of the light falling on the tree trunk. And maybe some lights in there, because there's some light hitting some vegetation in there. And I want to just come down very light with the sky. So Okay. Some extra cloud description. Okay, and maybe just a bit more work in the road. There. Push that there. Across there like that. I want more road, more light. And it needs some red interspersed in here. Okay. All right. So let me just take off the I like to tape up when I'm painting on paper, as I am now. I like to tape up the edges. Just a kind of a little personal thing that I do. It's not necessary. You can paint to the edge of the paper, but I kind of like revealing the painting because it looks like it's, you know, slightly like it's framed. I think that's. I used to do that with my illustrations as well. So let me have a look here. Okay, so if I can put that in front, there is the painting. There, you can see it. I'll do a high resolution scan and add it to the end of this video as well. But so that's it. What do I think of the paints? I don't particularly like them. I have to say, I think I would have preferred to have done that with the Winsor & Newton professional acrylics or Liquitex or golden. These are a bit too thin for my liking. I mean, it says séchage rapide. Well, I mean, that's acrylics, so quick drying. Onctueuse et homogène. So onctueuse is kind of, you know, unctuous, isn't it? Sort of creamy. Homogène? I'm not quite sure what they're trying to say with that. I don't know. I think I would have preferred the Winsor & Newton professionals or the golden or Sennelier, but they didn't do them. But that's not to say that you can't paint a painting with them. You can. I mean, they're good paints for that. I don't want to denigrate them. They're far away better than the stuff that you buy in you know, cheap shops like Tiger or Deals or one of those things in the supermarkets. So yeah, good. I could have used the other ones, but you know, still created something, and that's the main thing, isn't it? You know, you've got to work with what you have when you're out in the field, and you've got to go and get some paints, you've got to use what there is, haven't you? So the more breadth of experience you have, the better. But anyway, that's the painting. There'll be a scan of it appearing shortly. If you do like this video, please do like and subscribe. And comments are more than welcome. I'd love to hear your comments. It helps the algorithm sort of do its algorithm thing and direct people to me. So if you've had a lovely time, do let me know, and maybe you can sort of join in one of my physical classes in Harold's Cross in Dublin one of these days, or maybe you can sort of buy me a coffee or something like that. But listen, thank you very much for being here, and happy painting. Okay, bye.